Welcome to 60 Skills. Today's topic is how to live longer. Despite what is frequently said in the New Age community, over the last few decades of looking, I have honestly only seen 3 or 4 things that might conceivably extend your ultimate lifespan. That said, there are many things you can do to improve your quality of life. Qigong, meditation, breath work, all of these kinds of things tend to make people much more animated well into old age. That said, I haven't seen any of them actually extend lifespan much. That said, the following things I'm about to describe to you might, just might, based off anecdotal evidence that I've seen serially, actually extend your lifespan. The first of that is the application of Moxibustion. Moxibustion involves the use of 3-year-old age mugwort root applied to the skin that is then lit on fire. This is a very old technique in traditional Chinese medicine and traditional Asian medicine. The best research seems to indicate that it has a modulating effect upon the immune system. Now, there are 2 good books on the topic. One is called Moon over Matsushima by Merlin Young, and another one is called Moxibustion, a Clinical Guide by Lorraine Wilcox. If you're interested in this methodology, those are both worth checking out. 2. Pranayama. Now, by this, I do not mean simple alternate nostril breathing. I'm talking the really advanced practices in pranayama that involve holding the breath full of air and then holding the chest empty of air for extended periods of time. These things, from what I've seen, may in fact have some effect upon ultimate mortality or living longer. At a minimum, they seem to improve lung function, which always has a big hit or decrease as people get older, and lack of oxygenation causes all kinds of problems. Additionally, it seems to have a very potent effect upon the immune system, which again, as people age, this usually doesn't function nearly as well. So these are things to look at. Next, you have shih gung, or genital weightlifting. Anecdotally speaking, I've simply seen far too many men in their mid-90s walking around acting like normal human beings, despite otherwise terrible lifestyle habits, who engage in this practice 2 to 3 times a week. Again, this is purely anecdotal, but I've seen this a lot, and the fact of the matter is, it tends to have a remarkable effect upon the immune system and overall energy levels. My suspicion as to its mechanism of action is, 1, it elevates hormone production in men and women. If this is done over a very long period of time, I can simply see the body functioning much better than it would have without it. Additionally, the groin acts as a fascial tab in the body that connects to the internal organs. Manipulation of this tab results in the organs moving upon their pre-programmed plane of action much more efficiently. You see, the organs in your body actually move around in your chest cavity on this ligament and tendon network. The use of genital weightlifting appears to reset this. And so again, I think over a very long period of time, I'm talking decades here, I could see how a more efficient functioning of the organs would result in someone simply living a little longer. Next, we have the issue of fasting. Fasting is a very old methodology for dealing with health problems writ large. Its primary method of action in this case is probably autophagy, or around that 72 to 96 hour point in fasting, your body begins eliminating a large amount of malfunctioning cells within the body. Normally, the body doesn't get around to doing this because as long as you're feeding the body has to process all the nutrients and other materials, and this autophagy process seems to get put on the back burner. There's a great deal of research out there that shows fasting for 3 to 4 days once a quarter has a remarkable effect upon the metabolism as well. So I don't think this is something that should be done with great frequency, but I think a 72 to 96 hour fast once a quarter would probably have a pretty noticeable impact upon someone's health over a long period of time. Okay, those are the conventional things I've seen that definitely seem to impact longevity. Now I'm going to talk about something a little unconventional. The major medical researchers into longevity use a 3-drug cocktail in their own private lives. This cocktail is a combination of rapamycin, metformin, and telmisartan. For a variety of reasons, none of which reflect well upon those researchers, they choose not to prescribe this to the general public. I have my own opinions upon that, and finding out what this cocktail was took a tremendous amount of money and a tremendous amount of time on my part. Now, rapamycin is a rapalog. It is an mTOR inhibitor, and for reasons we don't entirely understand, it apparently increases autophagy and helps with metabolic and immune system regulation. Now, it does appear to negatively impact fertility in men, so I would not go using this compound until after you were done having children. That said, it is apparently the key compound in this 3-drug cocktail. The next drug is metformin, which many people have heard of. It is normally used to treat type 2 diabetes and other type issues. It appears to act as a metabolic rehabilitator by targeting the mitochondrial DNA. As a practical matter, as people get older, their metabolisms tend to quote-unquote slow down. Metformin is one of the drugs that appears to repair this. The third drug in the cocktail is called telmisartan. This is normally used to treat blood pressure issues. It also appears to work as a metabolic rehabilitator. Now, out of these 3 drugs, the one most prone to having problems is rapamycin. And normally, in this method of use, it is utilized as a single-stage drug taken once per week in a very small amount. Now, some people develop lung problems as a result of using this drug, and of course, they would not be able to use this cocktail then. But I can tell you with certainty, this is what most of the big researchers are using in their own private lives, and they implicitly refuse to prescribe it to the general public. Now, what I can also tell you, based off a lot of my own research, is that the major drug companies interested in anti-aging research are all researching rapalogs heavily. Now, these 2nd and 3rd generation rapalog drugs you can't get. They're research chemicals and they're almost impossible to source. With the right context, however, you can get rapamycin. I am not a medical doctor, so I cannot prescribe these to you. Don't ask. But that is what is being used by the longevity community, even though they themselves don't like to discuss this, and even more importantly, will not prescribe it to you as a consumer. Now again, I'm not encouraging anybody to do this either, nor am I offering this as medical advice for the treatment of a given condition. That said, this is what these people are using, and the fact that they refuse to discuss this openly does not reflect well on them. All right, those are the things that I've found that tend to increase lifespan. For those of you involved with Barden's Kabbalah, the letter L apparently also has an effect if invoked at a physical level, but that is something for another time. Train hard, be well, and I hope to hear from you soon.